Hello, humans. Welcome to the Harmony and Humanity podcast. We are highlighting the common ground we all share, inspiring conversations that lead to real-world harmony and understanding. I am Amethyst Herrick. I'm joined here today by Dr. Lino Martinez. Hello, Lino.
Hello.
And the lovely and talented Jasmine Vine. Hi, Jasmine.
Hello.
So, just so you recall, this is a live stream, so just like Rocky Horror Picture Show, we completely we encourage audience participation. But unlike Rocky Horror Picture Show, you've got us and not, a movie theater. So sorry about that. But if you are watching a replay here, we definitely want to hear your comments and the thoughts below in the comment section below. But as we're going on today, this show gets only so much more better by your participation. So I can see that you shiver with anticipation. All right. But maybe the rain isn't really to blame. All right. So anyway, in today's live stream, we're going to be talking about two things. One of them, Jasmine, I heard you got some kind of medical thing. So we'll talk about that. Actually, and then we'll try to segue into something about spirituality, but we want to start off by hearing about how everything went last week, Jasmine. Let's see what happened.
Where do I start? It's first time doing like an update on a long form thing. Give me a starting point. Where do I start?
So where do we left last? Okay, so we left off that you were going to have a surgery 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So tell what was it? Okay, say it again.
Bophorectomy.
What does that mean, Jasmine?
Oh, it means that I've gotten rid of both of these nuts. No, an orchiectomy. So I went in for surgery, was it last Thursday? Well, not last Thursday, Thursday before. So it's been a week and a half now.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
Surgery. So it was the first surgery that I've ever had, despite all the transphobic comments saying, oh, you would look like a man without all your surgeries. But anyway, first surgery I've ever had. And it was a little bit scary going into getting general anesthesia for the first time. That was probably the thing I was most concerned about. But all has gone pretty well. I was in quite a bit of pain straight afterwards, but then from there, the pain has been very manageable. Trying to think what the main sort of updates are. Yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, I went a little bit too hard with walking. I thought, I feel so much better. I don't need any pain meds. The chemist is a 2-minute walk away. I'm just going to go over there and have a look around. And I did that, and it was a bad decision because I was in quite a bit of pain later. So don't overdo it, even if you feel a lot better. It's the first piece of advice.
That's a good advice.
Can you be more specific? Like what you said, orchiectomy, which is good.
Yeah.
What all does that entail, and how do you look today?
How do I look today?
What was the result?
The removal of the testicles, or the she-sticles, as I like to call them.
Sure.
And today is actually kind of funny because I've been a bit up and down with how pain meds have affected me and stuff. I've still been having pain meds before bed. And last night I had them before getting into the shower. And I started feeling like I couldn't breathe properly, like the steam was really getting to me, and I was feeling really tired, and I felt like I was going to freaking pass out. So another piece of advice, maybe don't have strong sleeping meds before getting into the shower, like pain meds. But yeah, I woke up this morning and had a lot less swelling than I've had previously. And I was like, I've got my partner in. I'm like, do I look less swollen? And also checking out the stitches, because the stitches are supposed to dissolve after 10 days. And I think it's been over 10 days now. But I was like, oh my God, I look like I have a deflated miniature football. What the hell is this?
Oh, wow.
What did they do? Forgive me on this. I've got to know a couple of details because like did they go in from the bottom, from the top? I mean,
They went in from the bottom, so like the
okay,
incision was in the scrotum.
okay,
Yes,
and you got that much swelling from that?
well, yeah, I guess so. Like the first few days, I was kind of like, why does it look like I still have them there? Like it looks no
Sure.
different. What the hell?
Right.
But then today, yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's an empty, deflated football right there.
Good. Good. Okay. Because I guess now that I think about it, I got a vasectomy, and that was just minor incision in the scrotum, and I think I was swollen for I don't know a few days, but that's not general anesthesia. That's just. In fact, it was almost kind of creepy because the guy who did it is like standing there. You're just sort of lying down, and the guy's like, "So what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm like a software person. Well, what do you do?" "Oh, no, I guess I know what you do." At one point, I remember he goes, "Whoops," and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, don't say whoops when you're doing surgery on somebody who's awake, okay?" But anyway, so that's interesting. So that's awesome.
Nice.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling like as a person? Or has this sunk in yet?
I want to be able to squish it. I want to feel that they're not there, and I haven't been able to because that would be unwise. So, in some sense, it kind of doesn't feel all that real. But I definitely notice not having testosterone in my system. That is fantastic because after being on blockers for off of blockers for a couple of weeks prior to the surgery, I started getting like acne on my chest, which is, ugh, it's honestly the closest I've had to dysphoria in quite a while because that's like, that's 13-year-old boy Jasmine problems, not me today. So, yeah, that was a bit weird. But I definitely noticed the difference with that. It honestly doesn't feel that different. It's just like, for me, it's very neutral. It's very much like, okay, cool. That's ticked off. It's just waiting for the pain to stop going down. Because it wasn't a source of dysphoria for me. It was just a source of annoyance. And so far, the annoyance hasn't dissipated because there's pain. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jasmine, I have a question though. So you said right now that you can tell that there's no more testosterone. How can you tell? Aside from the acne, aside from that, how else can you tell?
Yeah, I feel a lot clearer and calmer. Like there's a clear, calm energy that I've got. Like definitely I noticed that going down physically, but I haven't really noticed much else physically. Apart from, is there another word for erections? I'm just going to freaking say that. Because that definitely was something that I noticed being off of testosterone blockers. It not even just in like not in a sexual way or like anything like that. It's actually just waking up and having one there and being like, oh, that hasn't happened for like 10 years. That's weird.
Wow.
So that's gone again, thankfully. Yeah, that's the only physical things I notice, but the mental clarity is the main thing that I notice. Just calmness.
Did the
Do you feel that it is from testosterone, and or could it also be from your, I guess, your own coming to acceptance that you're finally becoming the full light that you've always wanted to be and become?
I'm not sure.
Because feeling lighter means that you're feeling more like your light. I'm feeling lighter. I'm feeling more of my light. So in you feeling more like your light, I'm wondering if actually just the removal is allowing you to shine more.
You know what? I don't know. I have a feeling that it's actually more of a chemical thing for me.
Okay.
Like having the testosterone in my system just feels like putting diesel in a freaking petrol car. It just feels incorrect mentally, physically,
Sure.
emotionally, spiritually.
I can understand that.
And yeah, having my system be run fully with estrogen feels so much more right. So I don't know if that's like a chemical thing or if it's even a placebo thing or like an emotional thing. I'm not really sure. But one thing that I do want to clarify is I never ever felt like my body was wrong. Like
I love this.
having gesticles, having a sheetus, that is not an issue for me. Like it's not an issue on a dysphoria level. It's my body. I love my body. My body is mine and I love it. So that's not so much a problem. The she-sticles just had to go because they're consistently pumping out testosterone, and being on blockers for a long period of time isn't so good medically. So I wanted to shift that. So it feels like more of a practical reason, I guess.
And from a medical standpoint, because I don't know this answer, I'm sorry, Amethyst, I totally interrupted you. Will you ever need testosterone again? I mean, I think I shared last podcast that as a trans man, I need suppositories of estrogen, and so I'm wondering if you will ever need the other hormone ever again.
I'm wondering that too. I am wondering that as well. I know a lot of people are fine without it, and as Amethysta let me know the other day, our like parts of our brains actually do produce small amounts of testosterone.
Yeah.
Enough that it should be fine. I do know some people who have had to get on testosterone after going through the surgery, but I think it really depends. If you start getting really sluggish and slow and like low energy, then testosterone might be something that's causing that, a lack of. But for most people, it seems to be okay. I don't know. Like Amethysta, what's your thoughts on that?
So definitely, I can't remember if it's the amygdala or the hypothalamus that can secrete testosterone, synthesize and secrete testosterone. So, and I believe your adrenal glands can do it too, like above your kidneys, possibly. So there is a source, but an interesting little tidbit. I actually, when I the last time I got whatever these things are called, the blood test. Last time I got a blood test done, I actually had more testosterone in my bloodstream than I did before I got surgery, because it was usually around 4 or 5. And I know, Jasmine, you have, I think, millimoles or picomoles, but so it's, it's like 4 or 5 nanograms per milliliter. And the last time I got it done, it was like a 12 or a 13, which is more typical. So, more typical for like an assigned female at birth body, somewhere around 15 to 20. So anyway, mine went up. So I think my body, went, oh, well, shoot, now we don't have testosterone engine. So it cranked up some other biochemical pathway. But there are, as far as biochemistry goes, it really depends. The reason why you go to an endocrinologist is because your particular biochemistry might be doing something different and be affected by hormones differently is what I'm trying to say. So like both Jasmine and I may need testosterone later in life, but for what it's worth, there's an interesting, I know somebody who was assigned female at birth. I don't think it was PCOS, endometriosis, I believe is what she had, but she had full hysterectomy. Uterus is gone, both ovaries were gone, and what actually makes her feel better is testosterone. Her biochemistry is such that she functions better with more testosterone. She also unfortunately lives in Texas.
Oh,
and so
lovely.
that's considered transgender care, and so it's really hard for her to get. It's the stupidest, I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a little biology. My little biology bit for the day. Jasmine, I want to ask you a question too, though, because I forget what was the What was the androgen blocker you were on? Anti-androgen.
Cyprotone acetate.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So is it? I don't know if that's at all psychotropic. Do you know the answer to that? Like, could it
I
affect
do not even know what
thoughts and behavior?
psychotropic means. I've got no idea.
Like like anti-anxiolytics or antidepressants. I mean, stuff that can affect thoughts and behavior, things that affect like cognition and behavior. Is that okay? Lino, you probably can say
Yeah,
that better
you
than
got
I
it
was.
right. Yeah, psychotropic. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you know?
I don't. The only thing that I do know is there's a warning that's given to people when they start Psych-Pro that it can exacerbate depression symptoms. So I guess.
Yeah, because I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if it could be that too. Just getting the Cipro out of your bloodstream.
Hey, that's excellent, Amethysta. You're thinking like a doctor here.
You know, the thing is though, I was gonna say, just before I let me try this again because I held myself back. I was gonna say you were on ciprofloxacin, right? Luckily, I did not. Now I'm gonna bring it up because it's gonna make me look sort of funny. But ciprofloxacin, of course, is a
Antibiotic.
antibiotic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it is not ciprofloxacin. So am I?
No, it wasn't that. It was antibiotics.
Yeah, antibiotics.
Oh,
Was exceptionally well played. That was really good. So I just wanted to, anytime I get a compliment and you say, "Hey, you're thinking like a doctor," I wanted to go, "No," because I didn't even know what the drug was. So
okay.
anyway,
No, but it's excellent to point out that perhaps being off the hormone blocker can actually bring an up level of your mood and your
I'm curious.
That
I'm
that
curious.
that definitely makes sense, especially if it's known to cause depression. So maybe it's known to cause people to feel down, and you get off of it, and now you're just au natural,
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know what Psych-Pro is taken for primarily, because I know that there's different reasons, like Spiro being the other main anti-androgen that trans femmes take is it's a diuretic. It's used for people that have fluid retention and like various things like that. So I don't know what Psych-Pro's main intention is, but I know that if it is given as like an anti-androgen, perhaps for, I don't know, prevention of prostate cancer or various things like that, then men taking it would probably feel kind of depressed. When I took it, I felt calm. I felt peace. I felt relaxed. I felt relief. And it made the quality of my life a lot better. So any sort of depressive symptoms that it supposedly creates, it took away mine. So I wonder if it's potentially that's a warning that's given because its intention is perhaps for cis men to reduce risk of prostate cancer or something like that. I don't know.
So I looked it up, like you do. So CPA is so it is classified only as an anti-androgen and progestin medication. So it's used in the treatment of androgen-dependent conditions such as acne, excessive body hair growth, early puberty, and prostate cancer. So
there you go.
Also used as a component of feminizing hormone therapy, but and in birth control pills. So interesting there too. So in any event, I guess the point is it's not. It's only used as an anti-androgen to affect that. So. But I mean, testosterone. There are a lot of studies that indicate testosterone is builds up like physical energy and generally some physical mental what's the word I'm looking for? Almost euphoria. So are typical testosterone symptoms, which was so fascinating because the first time I took an injection of estradiol, I had the most amazing euphoria for like 2 hours afterwards. I have no doubt it had nothing to do with the estradiol injection and just the fact that I was able to poke myself and finish it up. But it was probably like, after you get a piercing, you have like a couple of hours, maybe neither of you knows this, but you have a couple of hours where you're like, woohoo, I had like a needle stuck through my nose. That's great. Anyway, so I don't know. So it's just an anti-androgen. It's interesting. Oh, I guess what I was going to say though is that, I think because I've got an insensitivity to androgens in the first place, I don't know if I don't know if that would have made a difference for me. I'm not sure. Because I felt much more energetic with estrogen primarily in my bloodstream. So anyway, so any questions from the peanut gallery there? Anything? Anybody want to say anything? Yeah. Hey, Valentina, are you out there? Is Valentina there? I wonder. I feel like
Zoe there too.
Right. I feel like
Valentina, where are you at?
I feel like we should do like a roll call, like
a roll call.
Yeah.
It could really feel like Rocky Horror Picture Show, right?
Oh my goodness.
Right? Janet, Brad, Janet, Dr. Scott.
So I have another question. I know you mentioned, Jasmine, that you had some inflammation, but are you able to tell yet physically that they're gone, or is it still inflamed?
As of today,
able to tell.
As of today, I can tell, but it's only specifically if the area is warm and like stretched out. That's the only reason I was able to tell today. I'm like, oh, okay, it's actually empty. Wow. But
nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Previously, it's more like if it's cold, it's, it's all shriveled up anyway. And because I was on it for 11 years, I was at HRT, and I started quite young, it wasn't fully grown prior to starting them, I don't think. If it was, then I guess I was just very unlucky if I was going to be a man. But yeah. Oh, Valentina. Oh, hey.
Hey, Valentina.
Hey, Valentina.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Well, do we want to move on to the other thought that we had here? What the hell was the other thought?
Around spirituality and how it relates to the trans experience.
Because I would love to hear, because Lino started asking, having to do with light. Do you feel lighter because you've become more on your, into the light of who you are? Oh, I said it poorly. I'm sorry, Lino.
Not at all.
What you had to say.
No, it's beautiful.
But I'm curious if that's
a t-shirt, by the way. That's amazing.
It what?
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Which part?
Which
Coming
part?
into your light?
You feel lighter when you step into your light, like something like that.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we need a fourth wall shop for harmony and humanity. So Valentina, by the way, says, thank you, Jasmine, first of all, for sharing. And she hopes your recovery is better and better every day. Yeah, it's really nice.
Thank you. Definitely is, apart from the day that I decided to walk to the chemist. Then it took a bit of a dive, but it's been good since then.
Yeah.
Thank you, Valentina.
But I will certainly say that, do you mind if I talk about my own experience? Because Jasmine, I was hoping you would go, oh my gosh, it was this huge, change, and it was the greatest thing ever. And it's a bummer that you haven't yet found that. But actually, before I talk about my own, Lino, you've barely talked much. Do you want to tell us, like, what happened after you got some gender-affirming surgery?
Yeah.
Like, how did you lighten up, as it were?
So it actually took me 6 months to heal. It took me 6 months to heal because I am immunocompromised on a very strong immunosuppressant medication to treat a very rare genetic disease called Muckowell syndrome. That's statistically 1 in a million. And if you can imagine, if a disease is statistically 1 in a million, this medication is very difficult to get.
Oh yeah.
And so it's an injection. I inject every 2 weeks, and because I was immunocompromised, it took 6 weeks for me to heal. I'm sorry, 6 months for me to heal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so for me, it was there was a lot of pain. I couldn't really walk much. a lot of swelling. So it really took over 6 months before I was able to really appreciate what had transpired
Mm.
from surgery. It took a long time,
Mm.
and I grew and stuff in between, more ways than one. And yeah, I mean and I feel that I can still continue to grow, and I feel great. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. But one thing I did want to add, and when you were talking about that, you felt affirmed in your body no matter what, whether you get them removed
Mm.
or not. So I had to have a complete hysterectomy, not by choice. I was okay with the inners at the
Oh.
time. I was like,
Mm.
whatever, I've got fallopian tubes and stuff, and who's looking in there anyway? I mean,
Mm.
we're not chatting, having a conversation. They're just there. But the reason why I had to get them removed, get the whole complete removal, was because back when I was 19 years old, I had stage 3 cervical cancer cells.
Oh
And when you
gosh.
get
Mm.
on, and in which they removed a quarter of my cervix, a very painful surgery that I had at 19. And
Ooh.
so cancers can come back if you are immunocompromised, or if you are
Mm.
living have a stressful life, or not eating well, whatever it can to stress the body, cancers can come back. And so I knew that was a possibility. And so when I finally got on the immunosuppressants at 38 years old, 36, 37, one of those, one of the what do you call it, one of the prerequisites to get on this immunosuppressant medication is you can't have had cancer, or if you have,
Oh.
that part of your body needs to be completely out or
Oh
cancer free.
Right.
wow. Yeah.
And
Wow.
so it took a whole year to get any doctor to do a surgery on me, a complete hysterectomy. It took a
Yeah.
whole year because I had a feeding tube, and I had my bladder removed. And so I have a urinary stoma, and because the whole abdomen area is very sensitive, no doctor wanted to touch me. It's in
Mm.
my book. If anyone's interested, A Little Less Fear is also my book, my memoir of all the 40 plus surgeries I had in 10 years. It's on Amazon,
Mm.
Amazon Kindle Unlimited. And so
Why did I not know about that? I'm totally getting that.
what's that?
Why did I not know about that?
Oh,
I'm
here
going
it
to
is.
Kindle
A
right
Little
now.
Less fear, everyone.
Yeah.
Amazon
Apparently, you
Kindle,
need to
Amazon
do
Kindle
more.
Unlimited.
Yeah.
It's 379 pages. But it took over a year to get a doctor to finally say, I will do this complete hysterectomy for you. And when the doctor decided to, the same doctor that removed my bladder, actually, I kept
Wow.
going back to her. I said, listen, Dr. Rodriguez, no doctor wants to touch me because of how delicate I am. Will you do me the favor? She said, let me think about it. And she sent me to the head robotic surgeon at USC. He said he wasn't going to touch me.
Mm.
It was too sensitive, fragile, and so she decided to do everything vaginally. That was the only way to do it. They
Mm.
couldn't do laparoscopically.
Wow.
Laparoscopic meaning going through the abdomen with tools. That's the way
Yeah.
they usually do hysterectomies now. And they couldn't cut me open because I already had been cut open various times, and I had a new bladder made of my small intestine. They can't. It was
Mm.
very sensitive.
Mm.
So she said, I've never done a complete hysterectomy vaginally. She was like, but I'll do it, because I told her. And she actually asked me this question. She says, do you want me to do the surgery to affirm your gender, or do you want to do it because you have to medically? And so at that moment, I actually felt fury. I was like, this has nothing to do with being a trans man. This has to do with me saving my life.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
need to get on this immunosuppressant medication, or I'm going to die. I was dying. I'm dying right now. I
Ugh.
want to live. So if it takes, well, I mean, if it's risky to take to get rid of this hysterectomy, I'm willing to take the risk to save my life.
Yeah.
And she said,
Mm.
that's what I wanted to hear. Great. And so lo and behold, I wake up 2 hours later, and she said to me, Lino, I've never experienced this in my life. She said, when I went in there to remove everything, it was as if there were hands inside your body that handed me your
Mm.
organs, and they just
Interesting.
fell out. I
Huh.
didn't bleed. I had minimal pain, and she has
Wow.
never in her life experienced that. So I call it divine intervention. I have no other way to explain it. But my
Yeah.
hysterectomy, I mean, was a blessing by the angels. And because of that, I was able to get on the immunosuppressants. And now I have my voice back, because at the time I was mute. I couldn't talk for 2.5
Mm.
years. I mean, it saved my life. And so, I mean, that's my gender affirming surgery. It actually became from saving my life,
Oh.
So, yeah, in more ways than one.
Yeah. But did
Thanks
you?
for asking.
So then it was not. So you didn't. Damn, because I want to know that you. I want you to say, "Oh, my light suddenly started shining brightly," and that's why everything.
But
That's
you
how
know, I
everything
mean,
came together.
to me, it was like, okay, a hysterectomy. Now I can get on this medication to save my life.
Yeah,
It
sure.
had nothing to do with, oh, now I'm a man for reals. No, I'm
Yeah.
a man for reals. You know, it wasn't like that. You know, so
I
you
have a
know, but
feeling that we are
what's that?
disappointing Amethysta here because I'm like, to me, it's the same as getting my wisdom teeth out. I'm like, they're annoying. They're pushing my teeth out of alignment. They're it's the same thing to me.
That's
It's just
yes.
another part of the body.
That
So I
was
actually,
disappointing there. But what were you saying, Lino?
yeah, so last semester, I taught psychopathology. I'm a professor of clinical psychology, and I teach various courses and topics. And upon teaching psychopathology, one of the topics was gender dysphoria at the very last class of the semester. And so I had a student ask me, which was an excellent question. I would have never ever thought of this. But she says, did you have anything change within you when your womb was removed? And I was like, what do you, my womb, what? I actually didn't understand what she was saying. What do you mean? And I was like, oh, when I had the hysterectomy, did I have it? She goes, yeah, like you can't bear children ever. And I was like, you know what, that is an incredible question. Thank you for asking. I never thought that at all. I wasn't like, oh, I can't ever be pregnant. I didn't want her to be pregnant. I never wanted to freeze my eggs either, for it to be, it just wasn't, I wasn't going to reproduce. And it is what it is. I mean, do I regret it now? No, I have no regrets. Do I wish there could be another little Lino running around? Yeah, I do. I mean, sure, why not? Get over here. I mean, that would be fun, but that's fine. These are the cards. These are the cards that I was dealt with, and this is the contract that I've signed for this life, and I love the life that I have and whatever's coming forth to me. But I thought it was an excellent question, knowing that I can never have children. What about you, Jasmine? Did you do anything about that? Or you or Amethysta, although I know you already have a child, but I'd like to know about the both of you in regards to that.
Yeah, you answer first, though, Jasmine.
I accepted that I was never going to have children very young because I originally thought that I was a gay guy. Like when I was, I don't know, like 11, 12 years old, I was coming to terms with that. I'm like, I've never had a crush on a girl. I'm like, I find the guy's attractive. And so, yeah, I kind of came to terms with that pretty early. My mum was a little bit upset with it because she came to terms with it really quickly as well. She was like, her brother is gay and she viewed me quite similarly to him. And so she was like, oh my gosh, I accept you and I love you fully, but I'm just sad that I'll never have a grandchild from you. And I always thought, well, I mean, if I was going to have a kid, I would probably want to adopt anyway, because there's so many kids out there who don't have loving homes, who don't have supportive parents. And I thought it's actually a bit of a blessing in disguise. Perhaps if I have a child, I'm going to be able to help someone not have the same experiences that I did as a kid. So I did it as almost as a blessing. That shifted a little bit after I got into a lesbian relationship, and it was with a cisgender woman. And all of a sudden, the option of having a biological kid was a possibility. And yeah, it was almost the same kind of thing that happened prior to getting my surgery. Is I had this moment of, oh my gosh, what if I actually do want that? I'm like, oh my gosh. And because the option was available to me. But that didn't last very long. After a while, it was kind of like, well, I mean, my genetics, come on. My family all have some sort of like bipolar or schizophrenia, or I've got like messed up toes and messed up teeth. I'm like, do I want to pass all of this on to a kid? No, not really. And so I went from this acceptance of it's never going to happen to, oh, it's a possibility. Maybe I do want to look into that, to acceptance again. Be like, actually, no. What I thought originally was actually the idea. Did I answer the question? I'm not actually sure.
Yeah, totally.
I am disappointed though. One of the most beautiful women I know doesn't want to pass on her genetics. Crazy lady.
I mean, look, just family history. I don't want to do that to a kid.
True.
You know what though? I totally understand though, because had I had a child, there's 50% chance that kid can have this genetic disease. Do I want
was
them to have
gonna
that?
ask.
No. Excuse my
Yeah.
language. Hell no. You know, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if that was a heritable.
It sure is. I got it
condition.
from my dad. There's a 50% chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
And things like bipolar and schizophrenia are supposedly inherited as well. And my mum struggled very heavily with that. So did my dad. And so do other family members. So
See, for what it's worth, and this is coming from somebody who, studied some genetics studied some genetics. I've always been curious, how do I want to start this? How about if I start it like this? People say, "Oh, well, like having a problem with being overweight is genetic," and you go, "Well, look at the environment. If you have parents who go, we eat a whole lot, you've modeled behavior for a child who will model that same behavior further on down and down. So is that necessarily genetic? Is it literally heritable, or is it evolution in the sort that evolutionary psychology works, which is you have a social environment that accepts that behavior and perpetuates it. So it, selects it for and against certain behaviors. So I don't know. I've wondered the same with depression, because very clearly my parents didn't model great behavior for me. How about that? But our son doesn't seem to have a lot of troubles with depression right now, which surprises me. But maybe it shouldn't, because I think we've both been pretty good at least at modeling that depression isn't a valid way of helping, your situation. Somehow in there it helped me, at least once. And so anyway, nature versus nurture, that's one of the big things I talk about. Right?
It is.
Interesting topic.
Fascinating. Oh yeah, I love it.
A genetic predisposition doesn't necessarily mean that person's going to exhibit symptoms of that in the future.
Right.
Well, yeah, we have genetic predispositions to everything almost, so it really a lot of it is environmental. Almost all of it is environmental.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and there's, for what it's worth, we understand about 10% of the human genome. 10% of the DNA that we have, we understand. I should say it like that. Because the human genome is called, 20 to 30,000 genes that do various things. But that's only about 10% of all of the DNA in your body. And some of that gets duplicated. So some of it's like backups. You have like literal backups. And much of it, though, we look at and we go, yeah, no idea. But we do know that the environment will turn things on and off. And probably, this other 90% that we're unaware of its purpose has to do with regulation in that way, but we just have yet to observe it. And I just want to say too, I did a live stream this past weekend where somebody was telling me, well, it's all biology. So you don't even understand biology. And I'm like, buddy, biologists don't understand biology. We don't know much about how genetics works. We can pretend that we do, but there is so much that we
really horrible joke.
Go ahead. No, let's hear it. I'd love to hear it. Hang on, let me.
Amethyst, you don't know anything. I was told by 100 people on a post today that if you're born with a penis, you're a man, and if you're born with a vagina, you're a woman. You don't know nothing about biology.
Clearly, I don't. But I love that, right? We have no idea. We really don't. Biology is so...
brings me so much peace. That brings me so much peace, because when people comment those types of things to me, I'm like, hell, I don't know. Freaking top biologists don't even know. Like, what are you talking about? Go freaking spend time with your family. Like,
right.
Productive.
Get off of social media and do something valuable. Like, talk to your family.
So there's, I mean, there's both a spiritual and a biological scientific component to the things that we experience in life, whether it's schizophrenic or depression, or either having a trans experience in this human life. We still have a soul, and we still have spirit, and we have angels, and we've got contracts that we make in the afterworld or before incarnating over here, and a lot of we choose our families. So I mean, it's not all just DNA, but it definitely becomes DNA because of this human component that we have to experience on Earth. But almost always it's first and foremost a soulful spiritual experience before it manifests into something physical. And so we come here with that knowledge, and then it manifests physically, and we just go through it from there on. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. No, I love that. On that note, actually, I'd love to jump into the spirituality thing. But before though, I want to acknowledge Winter's comment that says, "I love when people say it's basic biology, like there's no such thing as more advanced or complex biology." I mean, it's a great point. At some point, I know I was talking, I don't know, on a podcast, who the hell cares what it was? But I was talking and I said, well, it really is basic biology. And then I started considering, where did I learn these things? I'm like, God, like a third-year undergraduate molecular biology course. Like, is that basic? That I had to go through 2 years of general ed requirements to get to a molecular biology course that I was like, that doesn't sound that's not very basic. But I was thinking it to myself. I'm like, it is very basic. Yeah. But then I went, probably most people don't get to third-year biology courses. So I'm taking a guess. I'm not really sure what the proportion is, but probably most. And so this contention that it is basic biology, it's like you're just drinking Kool-Aid that somebody shouldn't be pouring for you.
Also, nature makes no mistakes, therefore biology doesn't.
Exactly. Right. But screw biology for a second. Because when I was you asked the question, did I ever consider like freezing, sperm or anything?
Sure.
And the quick answer is no, because I mean, first of all, I was 52, right, when I transitioned. Even if we had tried, my wife would have been old enough that I think the doctors would have been like, you're probably both finished. Just let that go. But I started looking to transition when I was 30. Yeah, 30. I don't think 31 by then. So I started looking into it, and I had no intent to freeze it, because I thought the same as Jasmine. I'm like, look at the genetics I'm passing on here. I don't want somebody to get my weird mental disorders, any of the disorders I've got. So when my wife said, hey, we're going to have a baby, I was like, oh, we are? Oh, okay. It was one of those things. I was like, we're just going to do this. Oh, we lost Jasmine. That's a bummer. Presumably
where's
she'll
Jasmine?
come back. Oh,
there you go.
No, you lost Jasmine because Jasmine didn't want to spit out a gross strawberry live on YouTube.
I guess I can understand
That
that.
was nasty. Oh my goodness.
Sure,
Please
sure.
go on.
All right, but so spirituality here. So I started getting into more spiritual stuff, like doing like meditation and trying to align myself with the universe and everything. Probably, well, let's see, 2013. So it's been a little more than a decade now. And some of those practices, like some of the practices, I would absolutely call magical practices, and it changed as I started transition, especially like where I felt it, because I used to feel it right in my solar plexus. Like if I would try to connect to the universe, I felt it in my solar plexus. I started transition, and then I started feeling it in my chest,
Your heart,
and I went,
your love center. No,
I think more. Well, I ended up doing an interview with Josephine McCarthy. That's a fun interview, by the way. If you want to kill like an hour to hear about weird spiritual stuff, but Josephine McCarthy is the founder of Quaria. It's a free online magical course. So I'm just, here I am, plugging it, Quaria.com, QUAREIA.com, I think. Anyway, point being that when we were talking, I said, "Oh yeah, it was right here in my chest," and she goes, "Oh sure, it was your breasts." She goes, "It makes sense. You want to nourish the world. You're going to end up with bigger and bigger breasts because that's what you do. You nourish the universe with what you
Wow.
do." And I was like, "Oh," she said that. Gosh, I'm actually shivering now. When she said that, I watched myself while I was editing it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm totally dissociating." And I knew I was at the time because I was like, "Oh, I can't listen to this right now or I'm not going to be able to finish this podcast." Because I was like, I'm going to start crying. Anyway, the way I connected to the universe changed. And now, more recently, I have yet to say this to anybody. This is the first time, live premiere, that I feel energy down below too. And I never felt that when I had, when it was male reproductive parts. Now that those are gone, I feel an energetic center there, and that's I thought that was kind of fun. I
It's your
believe
chakras are waking up.
it was a huge when it happened too. It was such a I went, whoa, what the world?
Yeah.
But when I had surgery, I didn't intend. How do I put this? I never expected actually to have surgery, to have gender affirming surgery. And then at some point I went, oh no, obviously I have to. And then when I got it done, I thought, well, this will be cool, right? It'll be nice. It'll be convenient or whatever. Isn't that what you said, Jasmine? Convenient?
Yeah.
I thought it'll be convenient. But it was so life altering because all of a sudden I felt like 1,000 energetic blocks just dissolved. And all of a sudden there was just more that could flow through me. And it was surgery, right? It was physical. I mean, I thought there's no way. Like, how could that possibly make a difference? But that's one of the things that happened to me. And I'm curious, Jasmine, if next time we do this, if you're going to start feeling something like that. That's why I wanted to hear you, Lino, too, because
Yeah.
very spiritual person. I expected, not that I'm disappointed. So I was kidding, but it was huge. Within 3 months, I was feeling so different. My connection to the universe has changed so dramatically over 2 years now that I don't know.
I mean, I can definitely second that. I mean, without me being in the aligned energy that I'm at now, which is the chosen dominant energy force for this life path, which is more masculine physical energy,
Yeah.
because I involve both energies, feminine and masculine, but physically, now that I'm embodying physically what I've always felt true to this life path, again, I'm repeating myself, I definitely feel more aligned with the universe and my divine light because I'm following my path and I'm following my mission in life. And even just speaking about this, on a live session, a live podcast with the three of us together is all in perfect alignment towards the mission, which is to speaking up and being able to be a voice for those that are interested or curious or willing to go forth this journey too. Or I mean, whatever it is, I know that I'm in perfect alignment because I'm doing things that feel good, and we're here connected because of it. And we're moving forth because of it. Support is happening because of it, and we're being resourceful because of it. So it goes beyond just the surgeries. It really is intuitively guided by a collective energetic force, this transition that we've decided to do, and it's for the greater good of a collective.
Can I ask a follow up on that then?
Yeah.
All right. And not, it's not like it's bad. You had said this life path that contains both masculine and feminine, but your physical presentation tends more masculine.
Yeah.
Do you obviously? I mean, I'm looking at you there. There's obviously, but So do you think that our what's the word I want to use? Our energetic makeup? Do you think that that's a soul level thing? Is that part of what ultimately makes us transgender?
I feel that what makes us transgender is the human experience. Because on a soulful level, we're all collective energy. And all collective energy is both masculine and feminine. There's no judgment. Energy, if you were to speak to energy, it would say, I don't know the difference. I'm just energy. And this is what I do in this energy. This is how I express myself in this form, in this energy. But because we're humans and we're having a human experience, we tend to attach emotion to it and physicality, and that can complicate things but also make things beautiful because we're here to experience that beauty and have that experience. So I really do feel that transgenderness is a human experience, because when we die and we leave this transgender body, we go back to source and we're universal energy. And so at that point, we're at that time we're genderless. So it's like we're just
Sure.
light and we're
Yeah.
vibing high, and it doesn't matter at that point what color skin we were when we were in a human form, or whether we had four vaginas or two penises. It doesn't matter at that point.
So if I were to summarize that to say that in the beginning we just are, but because of our experience within our local social environment, that's ultimately the transgender experience.
I feel so.
Ooh, this is why we get along so well. Because I really just pretty much said what I've written in an article. So
Yeah.
right, what do you got, Jasmine? Lay some spiritual fun stuff on us.
Hmm.
Do you want
I
to
have
finish
some
eating your
soy
strawberry?
crisps.
It's fun. Do you want us? Do you want us to wait while you're eating, or?
Oh, I've been eating this whole time. I'm just snacking. Don't mind me. It's almost lunchtime for me. Um, I feel conflicted, and I don't know what it is. I think I just haven't thought about the trans experience in that way. What am I feeling?
Do you think we are born this way?
Perhaps. I definitely do align with that idea that we're born trans. And for me, that feels very aligned because it's like, oh my gosh, I've never been anything but a girl. Like, I know that on such a deep level. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where my thoughts are at. Like, on a soul level, if we are all that universal consciousness, which I definitely do believe in, how do we incarnate in a trans body and a trans physical experience? I don't know.
See, I like how Lino thought of it, which is to say that it's not that you've taken on the wrong body. It's that within your local environment, your local social environment, that didn't work for the body you're in. You are as you are. And
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing you quite a bit here, Lino. I'm putting my own spin on this, but yeah, I mean, I think we are absolutely born this way, but born this way just means that we are that we started off with, a mixture of masculine and feminine, and we happen to show up. I mean, I happen to show up in a body that had male reproductive parts, but it was my social environment rejecting my expression of femininity that made me transgender, because the label means fuck all, right? The label means nothing. It's the
Okay.
gender
This
role from.
brings up another question for me
Ooh, let's hear it.
because it's actually inspired by a hateful comment that I got recently, which I honestly love just because they do inspire different thought patterns. And this one, I don't remember exactly what it said, but what you're saying about the social environment, I'm immediately thinking of the social corrections that we get if we don't live up to the standards that
Yes.
have been set by our herd.
Yes. Exactly what I mean. Yes.
Yeah. And that happens right from birth or
Hmm.
prior to birth. It's like, oh, this one's got a penis through the ultrasound. That happens right from that point that we're socially conditioned to be a certain way based on the expectations that the greater masses have. I wonder, this is where it comes in. The comment was about transgender being a mental illness and that it's, why do you need to change your body? That's what it was. They compared lesbian, gay, bisexual to trans. And they said that lesbian, gay, bisexual, this is how I'm born. I'm, attracted to this and blah, blah, blah. And then comparing that with trans people and saying, how I was born wasn't authentic and I need to do blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to say that lesbian, gay, bisexual is natural and blah, 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 and trans is not. It was something along those bloody lines. And to me, on the one hand, I think it's exactly the same as lesbian, gay, bisexual. I think it's exactly the same that we're born a certain way, except it's less noticeable for trans people. I genuinely do think that being born transgender is probably partly an intersex condition. On some physical level, I think it's probably an intersex condition. It's just not physically manifested in a way that we've been able to measure.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I wonder if we would need to physically manifest it if there weren't social repercussions for not. Like, that's a question that I've had for some time. It's like, if I were Clark Griffin, this is just coming to my mind because I'm binge watching The 100 while recovering from surgery. There's a period of time where one of the people is stranded for 6 years and they're basically on their own for that entire period of time. And it got me thinking, if I was completely on my own, if I was on a deserted island, I had all my needs taken care of, yada yada, I don't even have access to a mirror, like I can't even see what I look like, would I be dissatisfied with my physicality? Or is it mostly because of the social repercussions that I get as a result of being myself?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the answer to that question. It's just food for thought. What do you think?
I feel social repercussions because at that point it's survival. And when you're surviving and you're on a deserted island, there's no mirrors and you're just surviving to keep this human body alive. Nothing else is going to matter at that point but to feed it and clothe it and keep yourself warm and making sure you don't get any cuts or infections or get, eaten by whatever's out there.
Right.
So, I mean, when, it's like actual, constant flight and fight, although we already are in flight and fight with stress and anxiety and with people's comments. It's just a different way of surviving. It's still survival, but it's just a different mechanism of survival.
Yeah, I can see that because it's just protection from emotional harm, emotional, mental, well, and physical, unfortunately. But yeah,
it seems like the social repercussions is more of like flight and fight for emotional, emotional harm versus like the physical harm, although it can be both for us, for anybody, honestly.
I've written, I don't think gender exists on a desert island. That being said, I think that if I got stranded on a desert island, because I still have, there's still like some white, because mold, right? So I still have some white hairs that grow, and I mean, I need to shave it like every 3 days. It's not like it's really horrible, but if I were on a desert island and I didn't have a razor, which is probable, I think that would bother me. But I think it only would bother me because I've already learned this should bother me. I don't want masculine characteristics. I want only feminine characteristics. And so, like, I believe very strongly if you don't grow up in a social environment, and I don't know that there's ever been somebody who has not, because humans, you're pretty much helpless for our first, 6 years of life. But if you didn't grow up in a social environment, I don't think you would acquire the social norms that you want to express and that the social environment expects out of you. The way I've put it in my own work, that we have a negotiation, that we know who we are and we negotiate for safety within our social environment. And if you don't have a social environment with which to negotiate, I think it does go down to exactly what Lino's saying, purely physical safety that you're concerned about. I think that if I got stranded, I would be like, oh, crap, I wish I had a razor. But then I'd be like, but I'm much more concerned about the bear that's coming out of the forest. There, I'll get a razor as soon as I pick off the bear, So I don't know. I believe very strongly that, we are only labeled transgender, ultimately. Not that the transgender is like this objective state of being. So, here's something from Winter, too. Will you even ask, Jasmine? Look at that. So Winter says, there are some aspects that I think are purely issues because of social gender constructs, but for some other things I am not so sure. So I first of all, I hate this. I hate the phrase gender is a social construct, because I'm pretty confident 3 out of 4 people who use the phrase don't understand what it implies. I'm not saying that's you, Winter. Sorry. But I think when we use, especially this why I try to say negotiation within our social environment, which is pretty close to the same thing, for what it's worth, at least in my head, but I think makes it more explicit, that we're talking about something where we interact with our social network or social environment, because when you say social construct, many people don't even know what the phrase means, where it came from, and what it is that gets constructed. So anyway, where was I going to go with that? What the hell did you say? What was the last thing you said? Stenographer? Do we have a stenographer? What did you just say, Jasmine?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. My brain's going in all sorts of directions. I've got no idea.
Right. We have been on for an hour here, if we want to, because we could pick that one up. That could be a good topic. Is gender a social construct in the first place?
That'd be an excellent topic. Yeah.
Where my brain is going with this, and it's a little bit of a hot topic that people talk about transgenderism being
Right.
a social contagion.
Sure.
I think, do those two topics kind of marry together a little bit? Perhaps that could be one thing we talk about.
They do. I think they do. So now Winter goes on to say some things cause sensory issues, and so would be an issue either way, but then some things like dysphoria, at least for me, my brain doesn't expect to see what my body has. Yes, but I would contend, Winter, because I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. What you just described was something that I've called the reflection. You look in the mirror, and the reflection you see doesn't match the person you know inside. You've now followed this up to say, not sure if that is based on social or cultural learning, or if it would be something you would experience anyway. I would say it's the former. That the person you are is only wrong because you're told it's wrong. That somebody else will tell you, I don't expect you to act this way. I don't expect you to look this way. I don't expect you to be this way.
This is in the same way to me as how kids are taught that their dreams aren't realistic.
Sure.
We're always being conditioned from a very young age that certain things are acceptable, certain things aren't, certain things are realistic and achievable, and certain things aren't.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, all that does is breeds insecurity, and it causes people to question themselves, their self-worth. That is a massive, massive part of it. And I think that is very true for the transgender experience as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like what Winter's saying, there's some people who I've spoken to about dysphoria, and they've explained their experiences of it, and it's very different to mine. Like, I have a lot of acceptance for my body, And I don't think it's wrong to have a penis. I look in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, that's my body. That's me. And I love it. Does that mean that I wouldn't change it? No, if I could have both, that'd be freaking cool. I'd probably like that. But it's not wrong to me, and it's never felt inherently wrong to me.
Mm-hmm.
However, some people I've spoken to have said, one of my trans guy friends looks down and sees a vagina and goes, that's not supposed to be there. And they remember that as early as they can possibly remember. I've never had that experience, and I don't know what it's like to have that experience. And I do wonder if there are some aspects of dysphoria that are inherently physical as a part of our human experience, or if it is all social. The jury's out on this one for me. There's the council inside my head.
There's a mix. There's a mix. I mean, things aren't black and white or black or white.
Yeah,
things are, there's a spectrum of reasons for everyone, and whatever fits and feels right, because there is no right or wrong. The only right is what gives someone clarity. Wherever you feel most clear, that is your closest alignment.
Yeah. And I think that's our born this way. Whatever it is that makes you feel clear, you're born with that. And then
you know what? That can shift over time as well.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
That. Like,
well, hang on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Finish up.
No, I was just going to refer to the podcast episode I did with Lucy Takasari, who's like a detransition person. She transitioned to male and then transitioned back. And she really helped me understand that on a deeper level, that like she doesn't regret transitioning. She says that was actually right for me. That did feel right at the time.
Sure.
And transitioning back also feels right and clear.
Yeah.
And that was a perspective I didn't have at that time, where it's like, what is right and what feels true and in my light can shift over time. And that's okay as well.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the little note I was going to add.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think what we see there is not a change, but rather a refinement.
Yeah.
I like to think of it like a pearl. You have a pearl where you started off with your grain of sand, and as you go along through life, you accrete experiences on top of it. And so your some knowledge of the universe is the pearl, which has the grain of sand in the middle and then a load of accretion on top of it. So all right, let me read this last comment by Winter, which says, I believe that a lot, if not most, is socially or culturally learned, but I think there's a lot of possibility that some of these things aren't and are inherent.
Yeah.
And I think Winter, you're saying what Lino and I just did, that I think it's a combination. I mean, I think there's born this way, but then born this way bumps up against things that people go, I wish you weren't born this way. Why did you have to be born this way? So, well, let's take this down as a thought. We're about an hour and 10 minutes into this now. Lino, do you want to do your poem? Can we do
sure,
that?
Thank you.
All right.
Oh my gosh, can I do mine first?
What happened?
Oh my gosh, you were going to do your poem. Yes, do your poem, please.
Oh, Jasmine has one. Oh my goodness, Jasmine, this is incredible. Jasmine, go first. You want to go first?
Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't want to go directly after Lino. Come on.
Yeah, don't follow that. Yeah, don't follow.
It's
Not at all.
Make sure you're the opening act. Yeah.
Exactly. My goodness. You got to give me somebody potential for wowing.
Oh, you're incredible. I love your poetry. I love it.
Put it down. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's not in here. It's in this other section. Okay.
Oh, so now we have to wait.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Won't be long. I'll be right with you.
No.
So yeah, Lino helped me. Lino's given me a little bit of a poetry bug.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm like, ooh, that's nice. Okay. Shared humanity is what I called it. We're waves of the ocean, the universe's creation, seemingly separate but all a reflection. Wars and hate sow separation, despite hailing from a single nation. It takes all kinds to build a society, yet we focus on differences for notoriety. Certainty, significance, and connection, these are things that provide direction. We all crave love, we all desire, we all need food, we all perspire, more in common than what separates. You are me, and I and we. We're connected infinitely. In the end, we all die. So let us focus on our shared threads. Let us connect and share some breads. Our time on earth is limited. Let's not waste it with hatred. Break the barrier, break the divide. We are all connected, all divine. Love yourself and love them too. You're nothing without them, and they're nothing without you.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
First bit of poetry I've written in pretty much ever.
I think it's incredible. It's brilliant.
It was
I mean, it's
be-
definitely coming from
Yeah.
your heart. I mean, that's
Yeah, I
beautiful.
was
It was
feeling really
beautiful.
inspired.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank
Opening
you.
that part of your heart.
Yeah,
We're all
it's a good
poets.
one.
You know, we're all poets.
Oh, my
I
dad
don't know
always
about
said as a
that,
kid
but-
I was a poet and I didn't even know it. Maybe Amethyst doesn't know it yet.
I'm a poet. Didn't even know it.
Yeah.
You know, I've written songs, but yeah, where I've tended to have issues has been with lyrics. Most of my lyrics are kind of weak. I've written a couple of poems, not a ton. There was one that I wrote. Oh my gosh, 2017. That was a very difficult birth for me, but I'm not going to read that because it was a very difficult birth for me, and I'll end up crying if I end up reading it. So there.
Now you have to read it.
Yeah, my goodness.
Hell no. I'd have to
Maybe
find
not
it,
right
so-
now, but
Yeah, sometime. So this one's called Transgender Souls, and thank you for sharing, Jasmine. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Transgender souls. Souls or spirits, human or rainbows, we are all energy. We are synergy. And we are love. Transgender souls bring about colors unforeseen, for some untouched and for the majority unexplored. Viewed by many as an obstacle for those not being in tune to their authenticity. Looked up to by newer generations and by older, a curiosity. But engulfed by the arms of angels. Thank you.
I love the angel
Yeah.
bit at the end. Poof.
Love it.
I got to do the same snaps. I'm terrible at snapping.
Oh, me
is how
too.
Okay, good.
too.
Here's how I learned to snap. Can I just show? Are
Yeah,
you
show
ready
me.
for this?
Yeah. I can't do that. It's not gonna happen.
I don't know if you could hear. Woo!
No.
It's-
Can't do it.
It's the sound of one hand clapping.
Can't do it.
I can give
Okay,
myself-
that's weird. NSFW. Goodness
Yes.
gracious.
It was a great joke. It was a great joke. You know, when I was in undergraduate, I could go, yeah, there were times when I was practicing and it was like, oh, I think I got it.
That doesn't look good.
It was a good joke. It's a great joke in like a dorm after it's like 2 a.m. and you've had 18 beers, you know.
Yeah.
So.
I bet.
And on the NSFW train, that poetry, I just felt light in my breasts.
Very nice. Love
But
it.
actually, like, right, yeah.
See, there you go.
I know.
You're getting it just like I did. So,
So happy New Year, everyone.
yeah.
2025.
yeah.
Yeah, happy New
Right.
Year. Looking forward to this new, bright, beautiful year. Incredible already.
For sure.
Love it.
For sure.
Loving it.
So,
We've hit
so next,
resubscribe.
what's that?
We're resubscribing to 2025.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
I am, however, I'm going to be gone. I'm leaving on January 6th. So next Monday, well, in the U.S., I'm going to New York. So, because I have mentioned before, I don't know if I mentioned on this show, but yeah, I'm going to go testify in a criminal case against a transgender man. I will have a lot more that I can say about this when the verdict has come in, but right now I can't really say much more than what you could get in the Freedom of Information Act. So, but
best
I'm going to be
wishes.
out. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be.
Best
This will
wishes,
be
yeah.
the first time I've ever been in a courtroom whatsoever, and
Oh,
I'm like the prime expert witness for this, poor schmo who's been sitting in jail. All I can say is I sure hope that I don't mess something up. There's a little bit of pressure on me, but not to mention the attorney was telling me, she's like, you know what, I'm hoping I can get you in the morning because I think we could probably finish you up in a day. And I was like, a day. She goes, oh yeah, there's a lot of things I want to ask you. And I'm like, a day? Oh my gosh, how many questions do you have? And then I thought about it and I'm like, nah, I could bloviate easily for 8 hours. That wouldn't be that hard. I looked at Jasmine, she's like, yeah, you probably could, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that.
Right? So
Oh my gosh.
anyway, but I'm leaving Monday
So
evening.
we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got to be, what, the 13th, January 13th? So,
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Looking forward to it.
so, yeah.
If anyone
So you
has any specific things they'd like us to talk about, let
Yeah,
us know.
bring it on.
By all
Yeah.
means. So, I'll read our outro here that the Jasmine wrote, which by the
Oh.
way, I murdered your intro there, Jasmine.
shit.
That was the best I had. I really wanted to throw Rocky Horror in there, and so it did.
I mean,
but,
I love it. I love the adaptation. I thought that was
all
brilliant.
right, that's good. So, we will say that we can talk about all of this for hours, but we do have to end. So if you have any requests for future topics, as Jasmine just asked, please let us know by leaving a comment below. There is also, you can follow us at Harmony Humanity Podcast. That's both on TikTok and on YouTube and on Twitch. We're working on getting TikTok set up. We have to have an account for 30 days, but we'll be on TikTok soon. You can also reach us. It's Harmony and Humanity Podcast at Outlook.com. I should probably put that on our thing there, huh? But let us know. We just might talk about it another time, and we'll even give you credit, which, is pretty sweet. So thanks so much for joining in on our conversation. Jasmine, good seeing you. Dr. Lino, good seeing you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We think you're all pretty awesome for coming and listening to us and focusing on our shared humanity. So send in
Love you.
both of you lots of love and everybody out in the audience.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Right. All right.
Thank you. Come again.
Bye, you two. Thanks so much. Good seeing you.
Bye.